I'm a 31-year-old woman, and my relationship with my husband's mom has always been rocky, to say the least. From the very first day, she made it clear she didn't think I was good enough for her son. She would throw in little backhanded comments, always comparing me to some idealized version of a wife she'd conjured up in her head. Then, suddenly, she flipped her strategy and started trying to win me over with over-the-top praise, though it felt more forced than genuine. One time, I decided to dye my hair a bold, vibrant blue, something I'd always wanted to try. A week later, my mother-in-law showed up with the exact same hair color. At first, I thought it was a weird coincidence, but when people teased her, saying the color didn't suit her, she somehow managed to twist the situation into my fault. She claimed I'd tricked her into doing it to humiliate her. It was ridiculous, but that's how things often are with her, dramatic and exhausting. Fast forward to a few months ago, my husband and I planned a much-needed getaway. It was a 2-week vacation to explore some amazing locations abroad. I'd been saving for months, researching destinations and booking accommodations. My husband was responsible for booking our plane tickets, a pretty straightforward task. Unfortunately, he made the mistake of casually mentioning our plans to his mom. That's when the chaos started. She decided she had to come with us. Not asked, decided. When I told her this trip was just for the two of us, she went into full tantrum mode. She called me selfish, bombarded me with texts, and even sent mutual family members to guilt me into letting her tag along. At one point, she even threatened to call the police with a bogus complaint to stop us from leaving if she wasn't invited. My husband, being the peacemaker, suggested we should just let her come. That was the last straw for me. If you want to go on vacation with your mom, feel free, I told him. But this trip was planned for us and I'm not budging. He eventually caved and assured me he'd handle it. For a while, things quieted down, too quiet. I should have seen it coming. The day of the trip finally arrived. We got to the airport in the early afternoon, bags packed, passports ready. As we made our way through the terminal, I noticed my husband acting strangely, scanning the crowd, almost like he was expecting someone. When I asked, he brushed me off, but I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. And then I saw her, standing there in the waiting area with her luggage, waving enthusiastically like she was part of the plan all along. My heart sank. My husband walked over to her. Hugging her like this was the most natural thing in the world. I froze, barely able to process what I was seeing. Without saying a word, I turned around and walked straight out of the airport. My husband ran after me, shouting for me to stop. When he caught up, he tried to act like I was overreacting. "She's already here," he said. "What's the big deal? Just let it go." I couldn't believe it. "You can go ahead with your mom," I told him. "But I'm going home," and that's exactly what I did. I went home, curled up on the couch with my dog, and cried. I felt betrayed, disrespected, and completely blindsided. Later, I found out he'd secretly booked her ticket weeks ago. He planned the whole thing behind my back. About an hour after I got home, he came storming in, furious. He yelled about how I'd ruined the trip and made his mom feel unwelcome. He even called my family to paint me as the villain, saying I was immature and petty for canceling the trip. Some of my family agreed, saying I should have just gone along with it and made the best of the situation. But was I really wrong? This wasn't just about a trip. It was about trust, respect, and boundaries. I couldn't pretend everything was fine when he'd blatantly betrayed me. Now, I can't help but wonder, did I make the right choice? Should I have handled things differently? Or was walking away the only way to stand up for myself?